Always start out that way. Like always, I'm checking to make sure we're live on Shadow Hunters Paranormal Investigations and page. Yes, we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Scotty Talks About tonight. Tonight, I got a real fun show with me because I got two of my best friends, or all three of my best friends, and my wife Terry's with me. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to the show this week. And I got a broadcast. Hang on. So much to do. So much to do. So little time to do it. So I get everybody in the chat room so we can see who's all in there tonight. Oh, Nida's in the chat room. Hi, Nida. Welcome to the show. And everybody, welcome to Scotty Talks About. Like I said, tonight, we're going to be talking Psychics Unite. Terry's the founder of the group. This is Terri Rorek. We got, to me, this way, Devin is here. And Jen, Devin Evans and Jen Hodgson is here with us. So hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
So excited to have you. So we're going to start around the room and have everybody kind of explain who you are, and unfortunately Terry has the worst thing in the world, being married to me, the crab apple that I am, and so she puts up with a lot of crap, and I just wanted to say that publicly tonight. There you go, so everybody knows she puts up with a lot of my crap. Get very frustrated. So here I am, and here you are. So Terry, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll go around the room doing the introductions, and then we'll start talking about Psychics Night and all things spiritual tonight.
Okay. My name is Terri Rorek, and I am the founder of Psychics Unite. And now, what kind of things do you want me to say? Just
nothing yet. Who you are?
Okay. I'm Terri Rorek. I'm married to Scotty, and that's okay. You don't have to send me sympathy cards. So
yeah, she would like that. She'd like that. We could have a whole wall behind me of the sympathy cards.
Anyway, that's me.
So your abilities.
Is that what you? Okay.
Yeah, we're not talking Psychics Night. We're talking you. So
okay.
You and what you do.
All right.
So people know more about you.
Okay. What do I do? Let's see. When I first started Psychics Unite, I told people I was like Charlie Brown. I got like, at Halloween, and everybody else got, ooh, I got this, I got this, I got this, and Charlie Brown's like, I got a rock. And I felt like, oh, I've got nothing. I don't really have anything. It'd be so cool to have all these gifts. And a number of people said to me when we were starting out Psychics Unite, they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. How does somebody who doesn't have psychic abilities run a psychic group? And I said, well, that's my specialty, because I don't have any conflict of interest here. So anyway, but I have taken ayahuasca, and during that experience, I started speaking in tongues, which is like a form of channeling. I didn't really believe in that because I was raised in a very conservative Christian church that, although it was Christian, it was like, oh, we don't do that. That's for the Pentecostals or, something like that. But anyway, so I started doing that with ayahuasca, and so I continue to do that. Very interesting, very centering. And then also I have claircognition, and that is that I just have certain insights about situations. That's my thing.
Yep, she knows I'm a dork.
No, I wouldn't say that I didn't use claircognition to know that. I just learned that through experience. So, very good. Because if it was claircognition, I would have kept you in the friend zone.
You would have ran away.
He was in the friend zone for a while, but he was really persistent, so he wore me down.
I asked her like 16 times.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
I knew it from the day we met, though, because Spirit told me
he had claircognition.
Yeah, because I did, and I knew. Spirit told me that I met my wife, and so there I met my wife. So I was already there. I was already done. So I had to ask her like 16 times, and it was only like 5 months, and she said yes. So we're all good. So.
Oh, that's good.
I'm just a persistent salesman.
That's right.
Because the first time I asked her, I didn't get a no. I got a maybe. Yeah, so that's a yes.
He asked me a month after we met, and I was 19. No.
No, you didn't say no. You said ask me
in 5 years. because I wanted to finish college.
So I asked her in 5 days.
Yep.
So I just sped up the timeline. Because there is no such thing as time.
That's what I was gonna say.
Time is a
Concept
concept.
of time is just an illusion.
Yeah.
So 5 years means 5 days to me. So there you go.
It's all happening now.
Devin Evans. Hey,
Hi, everyone. I'm Devin. I am the leader of the Columbus, Ohio Psychics Unite chapter. I am a former student of Scotty's, and with that, am a psychic medium. I have claircognition, also clairaudience. I read tarot, but these days I'm mostly focused on my mediumship abilities. So with that, yeah, our first Columbus, Ohio meeting is going to be next Wednesday, and we'll have links in the comments for anyone who's interested to learn more about that too.
What I think is funny is every time I always hear clairaudience, I was like, okay, so we know how many people are going to be in the audience today.
We do, but we do though. Okay, so at the Psychics Unite meetings in Madison.
Oh yeah, we should
Yeah,
say this. Yeah,
yeah.
I do
So-
this all the time.
Okay, so we're getting ready to go, and we have this Unity of Madison is the church that we have it in. They let us use their basement. So we have all these chairs and tables down there. We move aside the tables and set the chairs up in a big circle, and then we'll set up a certain amount of chairs, and it's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
Like,
we always put it in. They go,
yeah,
oh no, we need
and
to
I
put a couple
noticed
more in.
I noticed
And
this
sure
after a
enough,
couple of
everybody
times, I'm
sits
like,
in.
wow, even though we get started and there might be some open spots left, somebody shows up late and fills it, and it's like just the right number. I mean, maybe we're off by one,
Maybe.
That's awesome.
but yeah, I said, "Wow, this is crazy." I mean, you'd think we were psychic or something. But yeah, it's kind of interesting.
So
Good.
Jeff
Yeah.
Wynn says hi, Devin.
Oh, hi, Jeff.
Kelsey says hi. Nate says hi. Greg says hi. Donna says hi. Linda Morrison says hi, or Morrison says hi. Julie Webster says hi, and Robin Porter says hi.
Hi, friends.
All right, Jen, your turn.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy that everyone is here. My name is Jen, and I am the leader of the Southeast chapter of Psychics Unite. I'm super excited about that. I'm also a paranormal investigator, a psychic medium, an author, and I'm also a Reiki master teacher. And I also mentor students and others who's part of the Angel Wings group.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, Gail popped in. Hi, Gail. So we got a lot of people in the what we call in the old days a chat room, so the Facebook Messenger thing, whatever you want. I don't know what do you call that. Anyone know?
It's still a chat, though.
It's a chat screen or
Kind of.
something like that.
Yeah, the comments. Yeah.
Comments, questions, helpful hints.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
All right, so we're here tonight, not only talking about all our spiritual gifts, because we're all very spiritual and very understanding. We also ghost hunt, and Devin ghost hunts with Shadow Hunters, who's on here. I'm very excited about that because Devin's show premieres next week here on Shadow Hunters page.
Yeah, it's going to be called Truth Bumps, and it's going to be a collaboration of different spiritual ideas that help us connect with ourselves as well as the paranormal. So each week will be a different topic, and it'll just be us talking about and sharing our ideas and taking any questions that you have for an hour every Thursday.
Nice. Cool. So why don't we start, Terri? Why don't you give us how it all started and where did it start and
okay.
how many years it took us to put it together? And
Give you the history, the brief history in long form. Okay, so here,
okay.
yeah, so it started despite the fact that I had a husband who had psychic abilities as a child and no one believed him, and I knew other people like that. I think, okay, wait a minute. I think before I do that, I'm going to describe what I think this really is from the original form. Okay, so one time we were at a meeting and Scott said, oh, well, Terri's vision of Psychics Unite. And I said, no, time out on this one. This is not my vision. I think that this is a collective vision. I think that, and I use the example of these are all little people. He put them at the bottom of the screen. All these little people.
And here's the church.
Here's the church.
And here's the steeple.
Here's all the little people. Okay, and all these little people are saying, gee, I wish I had somebody who would believe me when I talk about my abilities, or I don't even know what's happening, or I'm so afraid of this. I wish somebody could help me understand this, or I wish I had somebody to talk to. So this similar kind of idea is, okay, so all these little people and they have these ideas, and I think that thoughts are things and they're energetic things. And I don't know how it works. I just imagine that there's some morphic field or cloud, if you want to use the computer terminology, that thoughts go into clouds. Maybe they're sorted out. I don't know. Like all the thoughts like this go here. So all of these people are thinking, boy, I wish there was somebody out there who could help me. I think it collects. And I think that once something there's so much energy behind it, then it reaches a tipping point and it has critical mass, and therefore it has to manifest. So I think that my role in this was just just like tap me on the shoulder here, and they're like, hey, can you get this started? And then there will be other people. Like, of course, I didn't know about Devin or Jen or any of the other amazing people who are leaders and helpers and are attendees at Psychics Unite. I had no idea. I just knew that, you know what, I'm just going to do this. I have no idea what I'm doing, but it will work out. And before our very first meeting, I thought it's kind of like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. So I show up at this place and it's a little bit different, and I have to follow this path, and I'm just going to trust that the people that I meet along the way will also come with me. Like maybe somebody
Put them up.
maybe,
Put them
maybe
up.
somebody doesn't have a brain.
No, I
Or
have the
somebody
brain.
doesn't have-
I don't have the courage. You
Somebody,
could point to somebody else.
somebody doesn't have a heart.
Put them
Somebody-
up.
Whatever.
Put 'em up.
Anyway, but everybody's looking for something, and her attitude was like, well, you know what, maybe we can all get there together and we can work on this. And I looked at it kind of like the wizard gave them a mission, and they had to accomplish this mission. In that particular case, it was they had to kill the witch and bring back her broom. But I think I look at the symbolism of the witch in this situation anyway, as being like ignorance. And that, so we're collecting people as we go down this road, and we're going to eventually just destroy the ignorance that's around this. Because the purpose of Psychics Unite is to organize and unite people, both locally and globally, to advance the understanding and acceptance of psychic perception. And the idea there is that if we can get people to understand what it is, then they can accept it. It's just hard for people to accept something they don't understand. And because most people don't do their homework on it, you're not going to understand it. And if you don't understand something, then it typically goes into what I call the fear, the evil box. I don't get it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Therefore, it must be bad. So the idea is to just get out there, talk about it. And with a lot of things culturally that have been changing, just within the last century, people just have to come out of the closet or whatever. Talk about what you experience. Don't be afraid to say that, because if people talk about it, then that will give encouragement to other people to talk about their experiences. And when more people come out and talk about it, then people really realize that, oh, this isn't unusual. This is actually quite a common thing. So that's what I just really encourage people to do, is get out there and talk about it. It's not, like your ghost hunting now is, become much more acceptable to talk about, because, there's TV shows that back it up. And, it's just another thing that we can talk about to advance it. Okay, so that's how I think, that's what I think was going on for all these years prior to this. So now I went to an interview with this lady. She was in her office, and she had this cubicle, and it had all of these pictures of animals like pinned up into the cubicle wall. And I said, oh, you must have a lot of pets. And she says, oh, no, I just have fish, but they're kind of like pets because they follow me around the room. And this was in the Chicago area. And she said, when I go to the Shed Aquarium, then all the fish come around me in the, the big aquarium, and everybody gets mad because all the fish are at me and they can't get pictures of them or whatever. So I said, huh, they must sense your energy, don't they? And when I said that, I think she knew that I got it. And then I did what I call putting the key in the door and just unlocking it and allowing her to decide what she wants to do with that. So I said, so what other abilities do you have? And that's when she went into about like a half an hour unloading of how she had an accident. And then the next thing she knew, there was this, she saw this girl on this operating table and she just felt so bad for her. And then she realized it was her. And then she got back into her body again. And then when she recovered from her surgery, then, well, now she could hear her grandmother talking to her. And she had this thing with animals and she had, you know, all this other stuff happening to her. And I just saw how, I don't know, how she just felt like, finally somebody's listening to me.
Yeah.
And I said to her, yeah. And I said, don't you have anybody else to talk to about this? And she just looked really sad and she said, no, I don't. And I thought, and I just wanted to cry with her because I felt so bad because I could see how isolated she felt because she was dealing with this alone. And so the whole way home, it was about 2.5 hours home. And I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, like somebody should do something about this, you know? And I thought, well, there should be a social network or this was probably, oh, I'm going to guess maybe 8 years ago. Yeah, it was about 8 years ago. So, I mean, there was like Facebook, but there's a lot, not as much of the social thing going on. But I had always thought about it because, and then of course, the more paranormal events that we went to, the more mediums I would meet, you know, and then I would talk about, well, you know, what if we did something? And everybody was really enthusiastic about it. So then we finally did, we just started a support group in Madison, Wisconsin, and it worked. And people came and it grew over time. And people were so thankful to be able to find something like that. And a lot of times people were making friends and they were making connections. So it was almost like Psychic Tonight became the hub that was connected to everything else. So like I would go to, like, for example, there was a spiritualist church and there was a channeling group. And then there was, you know, there's all these other little psychic variation groups, you know, but a lot of them didn't know about the other groups. So then I just kind of found out who everybody was and what they were doing. And then I would just put that out to everyone. And so then they knew that, you know, if they came through Psychic Tonight, they would learn about all the other things that were going on. So we became the hub. And then we started, there's another group in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We started that. And then it just started growing from there. So now we have other lovely ladies that are helping us out and men too. And
I'm all over the place. So
yeah. So
by the way,
really
Kathy's in the chat room. Alma's there. Shannon Frickenschmidt. Jen says hi.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say her name right?
Yes.
Okay.
You did.
She says hi. So hi everybody. Welcome to the chat room. Yeah, the other thing, and I'll give it here and we'll give it at the end, but Devin is so gracious every week to put out the links for our Monday night chapter meeting. And we have an all chapter meeting right now because of the pandemic. And it's great because this really put everybody together. I think this is what's going to make this grow even more, is having this so weekly or bi-weekly or whatever we decide they are after the pandemic, of an all group meeting. So come on out on our Facebook pages. We'll tell you how to get on our Psychic Tonight later. All our Facebook pages, our new YouTube channel, our new website, thanks to Jen and her husband, Steve, going to help us get our website up and running again. So we got a lot coming up, and we're just excited to talk about it this week. But come join us for that too, because it's interactive. It's a place for you to find a home. And I think that's my biggest thing about, well, hi Trish. I think my biggest thing is the community that this is made. You know, when we first were talking about this before we rolled this out, was what is going to be the draw for psychics to come in, you know, and at first I didn't think people would want to come in because it's like, we always thought it was like a dog world, you know. And so, but now you find out it's a community, and the real people that are doing the right work are in the group because they want to help people. They want to help each other. They want to have those friendships. So,
yeah, we had some people say at the beginning, well, aren't you afraid that some people are going to come in and, you know, they're going to it's going to be all about them. And I said, you know, really, we haven't had that problem because, you know, and there's that saying, like, you attract a like vibration. And because it really isn't, I mean, the group, somebody said to me one time that, it's, well, you should kind of make it about you. And I said, it doesn't feel right. It's not about me. It's not about me at all. It's about the group. And that's what's so great about, I like our Madison group. I'm going to talk about that because that's what I know the most. But we have people who are brand new, just trying to figure out what they're experiencing, all the way to people who have been doing, psychic work for decades. And the people who have been doing it a long time really appreciate having a space to be able to pass their knowledge on to others and to see other people grow through what they've known. And the new people come and they learn so much and they're just so opened up. And it's so everybody is helping each other out. And it's just become this great community. So like at first, I would always try to have like some kind of speaker come in and we talk about something. But then sometimes we just couldn't get anybody for that particular night. And we would just leave it open and we'd have an open discussion. And honestly, those are some of the best nights. And
Or psychic
just-
games.
yeah, psychic where we practice things. Scott would do dowsing.
We used to do dowsing for dollars.
Or we do psychic circles, things like
I
that.
love it.
Yeah,
Used to have dollars all over the church and you had the dollars for them.
yeah, that was kind of fun.
Psychic
but yeah.
circles, table tipping,
Oh, yeah.
energy work, meditations.
Mhm.
And the meditations I do in my class all started
Yep.
from our meditations at Psychics Unite. So that's been kind of cool. So Jen, I'm going to go to you. So
Mhm.
how, we talked to you about it, but what made you join us? What made you come a part of this and become a very big part of this?
I wanted to help people. My entire life, that's what I've always done. And I saw a need in my own area where people wanted to learn and everything else. And so I wanted to be part of something like that. But I also wanted to continue to develop. And I did that by working with you on many other things. And I mean, there were a lot of things that you helped me with, and I thought that was very important. I wouldn't be who I am today without that help and without someone believing in me that I could do all the things that I'm doing now. And so that's what prompted me to seek out Psychics Unite. And then, like I said, just to be able to be part of that, to be able to help others who are in the same situation, who doesn't have a place to go and, isn't in your area, but is in our local area. And, that's really it. That's it in a nutshell.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. So you guys met Nate, Nate's a new
Yeah.
student of mine that I met. He just said in the chat room, he goes, he's thankful because he just joined us too. He says, I am thankful for you all and the things that I learned. It's nice to be able to discuss all this without facing judgment and shock.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. The amazing thing about Psychics Unite is that it is just such a safe, open environment. It's a way for us to express and discuss what we feel or what we're thinking things are, and being able to receive feedback from others and ideas from others to be able to bounce that off of our own inner judgment. A lot of the times we go through this world and we think, okay, this is what I think is happening. And then you'll be introduced to new information or a new concept. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I've got a bigger piece of the picture. I can understand it better now. In fact, one of the earliest, before I actually got to work with my spirit guides and their personas, one of the earliest channeled messages that I had received from them was always honor your experiences, acknowledge your experiences, but always be open to receiving more information down the road. And honestly, that's what Psychic Unite has done beautifully. They've captured that wonderfully.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Alma puts, I love being here, like learning new things. I always try to be here. So yeah.
Yeah.
And once you get in and understand and you find that community, you find that love, and that's the biggest thing, that if you are of ego or whatever, you don't stay. You'll maybe come once and then you'll go, because the other biggest thing that I found is that all of our businesses have grown from our connections with everyone. And I think that's another important thing. So it's not only about you, but if somebody comes in that's not a reader and wants to know a reader, well, you come to the group, you're going to find a reader, you know what I mean? Or you're going to find a healer, or you're going to find Reiki masters, or you know what I mean? Because we got a few that are Reiki masters, and we got a couple group leaders that are just starting. So it's great. it's whatever it is. So if you're looking to be a group leader, contact one of us. We'll be more than happy to help you start out in that realm. So that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have a lot of people say at our meetings too that they were that they had gained a lot of clientele from us. But the other thing is, we get a lot of people that come to Psychics Unite because of some of the readers. Because a lot of times people are coming to psychic readers because they are experiencing things themselves and they don't know who else to talk to. So we have one lady in particular, Raven. She's an amazing referral person for us. She does a lot of readings and then just says, you know what, you're so sensitive. Just come on down. There's a whole bunch of people like you, and that just helps people to know. And even if a person only comes once or twice, just for them to have that understanding that, oh, okay, I get it. This is like a whole bunch of people do this, and I'm not crazy. And I just, asked a few questions, got the information that I needed, and I'm fine. They don't become regular members, but just for them to be able to have that and know that it's available, get some questions answered, and then move on. So that's also another thing that's, that's really good. Sometimes people, if they can't make it to a meeting, they'll call me and they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm like, you know what? I'm not keeping score here. It is a safe place. You can come or not come. I don't care. The people that need to be here will show up, and the people that don't need to be here for this meeting won't come. So it's okay. It's fine. People will get what they need.
It's not a permanent thing. And I was just talking with Sandy, who runs our Portage group, Portage, Wisconsin, Weston group tonight about that too. She goes, well, there's a lot of stuff that my readings run late. I said, show up when you can. You don't have to be there for our meetings for all night. Come down and join for an hour, especially with Zoom. Come in for a half hour, enjoy us, and then go off and put the kids to bed or help them with their homework or whatever. It's just what you need when. And it's fun. We had a couple people that came like early on and then didn't come back for like a year or two. And then all of a sudden they come back again and then they start being more regular because they just weren't in the place that they needed to be either.
Or schedules.
Yep.
Schedules. I mean, if it's on a specific night and that's when you work or that's when you have your kids home or whatever, that's why we need to make it we want to start making it a little bit more open so that it's, online more, so that way it can be accessible to anybody.
And these two ladies are going to help us do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So Laura V's in the chat room. Hi, Laura. And for you, Devin, Jeff says, working with and meeting Devin caused me to open some doors that had been closed for a very, very long time.
Oh, that's wonderful, Jeff. Thank you. I am so happy to hear that because I was one of those people that was starting to seek out psychic readings just to be able to talk to somebody about my experiences and to be better understanding of that. And since I have started this work, just, really consistently in a structured format that Psychics Unite helps me with, I have met person after person who is either afraid to talk about their experiences. I mean, to the point where they've got tears, and that just breaks my heart. They think that they're off mentally. They think that they are damaged goods, and there is no one in this world that's damaged goods. And I don't want anyone to think that just because they have some special abilities that the society we live in is uncomfortable with, they don't have to be uncomfortable with it. And even if they choose to do nothing more than just become aware of it and just be able to understand it a little bit better, that's exactly what Psychics Unite is for.
Yeah, exactly. I had Tina Marie on my show a few weeks ago, and she was here, and she runs one of our chapters in North Indiana, around South Bend, I think it is, in Lower Michigan. And her first meeting, we had it at a Perkins, and that was kind of nice because you could have lunch and still had a meeting. I like that. I was like, appetizers and Psychics Unite.
And we're all about the food.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right.
And so we were there, but we had two ladies that were, in their 70s that came, and they were crying because they had 70 years where they couldn't talk to anybody about this.
First time they were like, this is the first time I've ever told anyone. And you know, like I said, when I met that lady with that interview that kind of triggered the whole thing, oh my gosh, you could see how like, oh, I just need to tell somebody. So it is actually quite common for first timers at a meeting to cry when they talk. Like we go around, introduce everybody, you know, what your thing is. If you want to ask any questions or talk about something, free to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of tears for first timers because it is so cathartic to
It's just a
know
sense
that
of
you're
relief.
loved, to
Yeah.
know that you're loved and accepted when you haven't ever been that way before. And
Absolutely.
that's really, it's really amazing. And yeah. And so yeah, there's definitely not so much on Zoom meetings, but when you get to the in-person meetings, that's when that stuff really kind of happens. And so yeah, it can be very emotional too.
Because it's not broadcast live.
Yeah.
Right.
We were like, yeah, and people have asked, can you put your meetings online or record it? Well,
We
now
don't have
with
to worry
Zoom,
about it. We have the
we have
platform
Zoom
now.
stuff. Yeah. But for in-person meetings, we always kind of questioned whether we wanted to record that because we wanted to make sure that people felt safe, and if people felt that they were being recorded and broadcast, that might not necessarily be a safe place for
I
people.
agree.
So we haven't done that for in-person meetings. I think that if it was a meeting that
If we had a
everybody had
speaker,
been there a while, or there was a speaker.
or we
and they
had
were
a
recording
speaker,
that.
then we could speaker it through Zoom.
Yeah.
Or if it were a class.
Yeah.
Or a class or something. Yeah,
Yes.
something like that.
But when people are just kind of unloading, then I think that's something that we want to keep private and within a group.
Agreed.
I agree.
Jeff says again, he goes, he's a little verklempt on the Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it's hard to, because, you know, for people who are empathic, which a lot of people who come to Psychics Unite meetings are, okay. I mean, even if you're even slightly psychic, you're probably empathic, okay? So I think sometimes people who are empathic need to have that feeling of energy as to whether it's safe or not, which you really don't get. And maybe some people do.
You do, but it's harder. It's not as easy as somebody right as you meet them, you know, because that's how we're all still readers, and we still all have to read over Zoom or telephones or across the country or across the world, you know. And you know, I had one today across the world. I was very, very excited. Somebody from India called me and got to read it. I know, it was amazing.
And
it went well.
And they fixed his computer.
I know wonderful, wonderful people from India. I've had the pleasure to work with many of them directly. Yeah.
What was
Same.
My son has this joke. Okay, this I don't know. He's just
our
when
son,
you call our son.
But it's yours if it's a bad joke.
It's a bad joke. Yes,
That's
my
yours.
son.
Oh, that's your
You know,
son.
it's like
That's how that works.
If something doesn't work, he would always just, you know, change his voice and say, "Is your computer plugged in?"
Yeah.
Thank you for calling tech. Thank you for calling tech support. Is your computer plugged in? So he would say that, and
well, we had it. I mean, I used to manage at Best Buy, and I had this lady call and scream at me that I sold her the wrong washer and dryer. She was just yelling. She was screaming. And I was the store manager. She was just going off, and she was calling me names, bait and switch, blah 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 blah. Why'd you sell me a pink washer and dryer? Or, you know, you gave me a pink. I said, ma'am, that's the protective layer. Take it off.
No.
You can, and then you don't scratch it during shipping.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah. So our son, when he was in high school, and he was in a computer programming class, and one of the girls couldn't get the computer to work, and he did that thing he does all the time. Thank you for calling tech support. Is your computer plugged in? And sure enough, the computer was not plugged in.
Right.
So
from India, no, they know.
Right. It's an IT thing, because I have a bachelor's in IT, and the first thing you always want to check is, have you restarted it? Have you rebooted it? Is everything plugged in? Is everything turned on? Because it's whether you are working with hardware, and not to go off on the tangent, but whether you're working with hardware or coding.
Fine, we can. That's what this show is.
It's the small little syntaxes that'll bite you in the backside. So it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot a period in that one line of code, or whatever. It
Steve,
sounds silly, but it happens.
Steve and Jen are that same way. So
Yeah.
everybody knows Steve is Jen's husband, not my spirit guide, but my spirit guide is
Yeah.
also Steve. So multiple Steves.
Steve is also Jen's physical guide sometimes, right? Wouldn't you say that?
Yes.
He, he's there for you in physical form.
She's there more for him.
There's the
Yes.
physical Steve, and then there's the spiritual Steve. Yeah.
I have a lot of Steves in my life. That's all I can
Yeah.
say.
Steve.
Brother, dad. I mean, hey,
I know, and you get my dead one coming there too all the time. That's fun.
right?
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
I
what were
know.
we talking about?
It was when I used to sell computers when they first came out with
No.
the CD-ROM drives. People used to think they could put their Cokes on them.
Oh, the Coke holder. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cup holder. Yeah.
Not good.
They don't even have those anymore.
No, they're an extra feature if you want to be able to add that to
That's
Yeah.
weird. Isn't
Tower.
it? That used to be sold. That was what sold them in those days.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, anybody remember? Oh,
We were-
Barbara says she loves our family. Oh, we love you too.
Aw.
But it's so
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, so that's how we started this. That's how this all started. But I think that this connection is in the Zoom thing. With us keeping it going after the live groups go back. I think that's and that's what we were talking about with a lot of people is the fact that they get to meet people from Albuquerque. They get to meet people from Missouri, from Indiana, from Ohio, from Michigan. Donna's from Michigan. I mean, all over, all the Wisconsin groups, Illinois groups, Greg and Shadow Hunters, and soon to be Minneapolis group. And, so more and more and more are coming in, but that's what's so neat. And we didn't have that, even though we had groups in all these other towns, we never had that much, like
We
Becky,
can interact that way.
right. Becky went from Mattoon was the only other one because she also did shows there. So we would go down to the shows and we would do both. So, we knew everybody from the shows also were in the group. So, that was okay. But a lot of them that were farther away, we couldn't, you couldn't.
Right. We had people ask about that. Oh, do you have Zoom meetings? And
We didn't even know what Zoom
no.
was.
That's when I first heard. I'm like, well, what's a Zoom
Zoom?
meeting?
What's
Yeah.
Zoom?
Yeah. So now it's
And now we're broadcasting live on YouTube and Facebook.
thank you, COVID.
I was going to say, I mean, honestly, out of all the challenges that this year has presented, so many unique individual challenges for every one of us, this has been one of the biggest blessings to unfold. I only joined Psychics Unite in April because of the opening up of the all chapter meetings on Monday. I had met Terri and Scotty almost a year ago in November 2019 with the idea of working with Psychics Unite in the Columbus, Ohio chapter and working on developing my gifts and understanding them better. But I didn't have a real clear picture on how to do that until this all kind of started.
Yeah. I think it's really forced everybody to just become more adaptable to different things. And yeah, it's been, I think it's been good.
It is. I think that's.
Although
great.
I know a lot of people are really missing the in-person meetings. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, when are you going to start up again? And where we live,
Yeah.
it's very, very strict here. for
Yeah, in
rules.
Madison.
So we
But-
can't do anything.
But that's where Sandy called me today and said, can we start holding meetings? Because in their communities, they can do 25% of the capacities. So if they get a library, the room sits 100, they can have a meeting for 25 people.
That's true.
So they're looking at, and Laura V's in the chat room right now, and Laura's, we were just talking about this before we came on the air with them. And they're going to do it. I said, let's go for it. Let's have all these meetings because people want to get together. And I know for a fact, a lot of people from the Madison area will drive up because they want to be in person again. They want to, and it's the friendships we make. If we make them online, it's great. But I knew Devin before. I knew Jen for many years. Jen and Steve from all the ghost hunting stuff we did together.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about this is now we're doing it with our friends even more, but we want more people to be our friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And, meeting online and having these conversations online, that's very bonding and connecting, but it's not quite like having a physical in-person experience. So, over the next months or so, I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, things just kind of lift a little bit, and we start to see an end of this chapter, and we can, start having some of those. I know that's the goal of the Columbus, Ohio chapter, is eventually move to physical meetings. But for now, we're starting with Zoom.
Right.
And, I think there's an opportunity too, that as we move back to physical meetings in all of the chapters, to still have a Zoom component for anyone who's not able to make a physical meeting. And you can still, participate and be there in the room, and still partake in the conversations and in any games that are being played.
Mhm.
And
I think
oh, go ahead, Jim.
I think that's important too, because I know for for myself, there are people that I know from all over the world, and they actually want to be part of that. And, I've invited them to the all chapters, but they're kind of shy. And so they're waiting on me to do one on Zoom, or, if we do a Facebook meeting type setting, but that's what they're waiting on. And I think that's great. It's going to be, it will be great to do it in person, but for those people who are from all over, to still be able to have that access for them, I think is going to be worthwhile, because I don't know how much, like here in the States, we don't, this is it for us, of having a safe place to go. And I don't know if they have that in other areas. So it's great to offer that for them.
Well, I have a question. This is a question out for anybody listening if they want to put in something in the comments or whatever. But if you were coming to a meeting and you didn't know really what it was, or you wanted to share, would you be more comfortable in a Zoom meeting that had, say, 10 people or less, like a small meeting? Because I know that it's kind of intimidating to, raise your hand, kind of chime in or something when there's, 20, 30 people in a Zoom meeting. And that's why I'm wondering if, like, we kept something to like a limited number so that people could actually talk and not feel that it's not so overwhelming.
Yeah, but the thing that I've been trying to do in the Zoom meetings is I try to get everybody in the room. The newer people there, I will say, hey, Nate, or hey, Lacey, hey, do you have anything to add? Because that's my big thing. We're not here to monopolize anything. We're here for everybody to talk together and learn together. And the more we can do that and help people, because everybody needs to be heard. Everybody needs friends. We just don't have them right now. But where I was thinking about moving forward, with our Madison chapter is that we'll post on our Facebook page this week's in-person meeting will also be Zoomed. So if you don't want to show up, then you don't have to show up. But then the following week we won't do Zoom. So it's just the local person who, you know what I mean? It's more about trying to figure out what makes them most comfortable. But Nida was saying that her group was sharing from Shadow Hunters too. She goes, she loves their meetings, and then she loves our meetings too. Because it's family, and that's what it becomes. It becomes our family. It becomes, that time to hang out.
And we've had people
even with your crazy
couples.
uncle. Yeah, we've had a couple.
We've had some couples that started
dating because of psychics.
Yeah. So, not
us.
I'm going to tell that thingy that makes you so mad.
Okay, go ahead.
So when I was coming up with all the different ideas that we could do with psychics, and we should probably get into some of the other ideas that, we would like to do in the future.
We got plenty of time. There's no one after us. We can keep talking until Hogan's Heroes comes out.
Yeah, well, we want to be respectful of the time as well. So anyway.
I'll tell the story about Hogan's Heroes next.
So anyway, I thought about, there's a lot of people, again, because they're kind of afraid to come out and talk about this. Maybe it's difficult to start dating people because you're afraid that, oh my gosh, they're going to find out about, what I experienced, and then they're going to think I'm crazy or weird. And yes, said the guy who never told me other than the bakers. You didn't really, I had to kind of figure it out after a while.
Because I was made fun of all my life. So why
so
am I going to get the girl
I didn't
girl
really
I think
know
is
about
hot
it.
who's going to tell her about gold?
Yeah. But you don't find out a lot of things about someone until you marry them. you know, because then they're like, hey, we're married. I sealed the deal. Okay, here's what it really is. But anyway.
True, very true.
Yeah.
Cranky,
So-
ornery, yell, scream, make fun of you in front of people.
Okay.
Okay.
But
But we're
anyway,
married, see?
now I lost my train of thought here.
You know that dumb thing that you want.
Oh, the dumb thing that you hate.
I hate.
Okay, so I said, why
We're gonna
don't
do
we
it.
have-
I know we're gonna do it.
Why
but
don't we have
I
a
don't
thing
wanna
called
do-
psychic singles where people can go and find somebody, because there's a lot of people who are looking for somebody who also understands what they understand.
But here's what
Wouldn't
I
it be
want to
great
change.
if you could find a partner who accepted
I know
and
Jen
wanted to,
and
yeah.
Steve can create this for us. I know that.
Oh no,
But
actually,
no
we have one.
swiping. There is no swiping for it. You have to look at it and you have to psychically tell it which way you want it to go. So if you wanted to swipe right, you gotta go right. And then it's gotta swipe right by itself. If you don't psychically make it happen, then it's not gonna happen.
Now, actually, there's a company that we can work with that already has it. So it's not like if we had 5 people that sign up with our group, that's all there would be. But it's multiple different companies can use the same dating group. So once you get into that, you can get into the whole thing, and they're all in this kind of, you know, advanced consciousness, spirituality kind of group. So that's something that, you know, if people are interested and want to use that. I know it would be great for guys because there's so many women, so they'd have a lot to choose from.
Linda Morrison says,
Right.
this is too funny. LOL.
Anyway, but
I like
yeah,
that.
so
I
said
like that you have to psychically swipe though. That's what I want. If we're gonna do this, that's what you have to psychically swipe right or left.
Yeah. Make them call me. Make them call me.
It could be like the dating game, only instead of questions, you're like trying to psychically pick out features on their face.
Yeah. I wonder. Okay, so for the empaths out there, could you like put your hand over the picture and then like pick up something from them, or?
I
It's
don't
not
know.
psychometry.
Yeah, you get together and read each other. So
Well, if you get together, you can definitely feel their energy.
Yeah.
You can
From
feel
a
a lot of other things too.
yeah.
You went down this road. I'm just
And
here
how long
for
did
the
it
ride.
take us?
We went from good, clean fun to down in the gutter in 0.2 seconds.
You know it's going there with me. That's the thing. It's always there with me. You
Took us
wanted to
less
bring
than
this
an hour,
big
Devin.
thing up.
Less than an hour.
Oh, here comes
Oh,
all
we
the
tried.
funny faces in the chat room are going crazy.
Oh my
We tried so hard to be good.
No.
Why? Who said you had to be good? This is my show. This is terrible.
Yeah, no, I think I know that it can be hard. Like coming out of the psychic closet is definitely a trick. I'm in my 40s, and coming out in the psychic closet in your 40s is even more fun. So I hope to highlight a little bit more about this in my experience in one of my shows in the near future, because I do think it's important. And in fact, even recently, a few others have come to me and said, how do you even start having this conversation? How do you look at someone that you've known for 30, 40 plus years and say, hey, I think I've always been psychic? Like, that's a hard conversation to have. So actually, when you're dating, that's the easiest time. Hey, you should know that this is a real part of my life. Now, that was a hard lesson for me to learn. It's cost me a lot, but I think it's very important to be upfront with anyone new that you meet. But coming out to people that you know and love, that have been there for a long time, that can be a shock.
You know, and this is, you know, we're talking about it from the psychic thing, but this is from the transgender thing, from the gay, from a lot of things out there.
Which,
yeah, we have to start being, as a society, we have to start being way more accepting of people and allow them to be exactly who they are. And that's the biggest thing with Psychics Unite.
That's why
is
people
that,
like it, because they
right,
can finally be who they are.
There's no judgment.
Yeah, there's a level of vulnerability that people can have, and yeah, and you can be vulnerable and be safe.
Yeah,
and it almost takes the vulnerability away from being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And neutralizes that. And I think what that is being vulnerable is really about being authentic. And if anyone can't live authentically, then they can't truly be who they are. And so that's why we need to have a space where people can be authentic.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people like it so much too, because finally they can be who they are and have other people not only tolerate who they are, but will actually help them be more of who they are.
Embrace it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Jen, you and I have been to the ghost hunting things for quite a while.
Yes.
Don't you find that even in the ghost hunting realm, it's getting way more spiritual because people are more and more coming through, and even the ghost hunters really are not really ghost hunters. They're they're on the psychic spectrum too.
Yes, absolutely. I see more and more of that all the time. And not just, with our group, but with other groups out there and everyone that we come in contact with. I mean, they're opening up more and more to that. So yeah, it is making a huge shift toward that instead of the other way.
And Scotty and I had talked about that years ago. We recognized, okay, the paranormal investigation TV shows were really, really popular. And maybe it was just because we were changing. And at first the paranormal TV shows were great because it allowed us to be like, oh my gosh, somebody's actually talking about ghosts out there. That's really cool. But then we had recognized early on, we said, you know what, that's the thing now, but everything trends. And I said, the paranormal TV show trend is really hot, but that's going to start to fade out to be more spiritual stuff coming. But I think it was good to have the paranormal because it's more of a
Gateway drug.
It's more of an earthy, physical.
I went there again. Sorry.
I used they use tools, physical tools for this stuff, and a lot of times people need, especially people who are coming from a materialistic standpoint, which really don't believe in the spiritual stuff. They really need to see.
Yeah, but
that
tell them
physical.
about your key, because Terri always talks about the key. When you go talk to people about ghost hunting, and how you say even about me, you put your key in, and then you
That's
turn
like what
it.
I said about with the story. Like I just, you have to say something to let them know that you're safe, that you're okay. So for example, what I would do, oh god, this is probably like 10 years ago. This was a common technique that I would use. I would say, oh yeah, my husband does paranormal investigations. Okay. Paranormal investigations, it's pretty benign. Yeah, you have to be like super conservative and not really either be like really super skeptic, but a skeptic might be okay with paranormal investigations because it's an investigation. So that was kind of a way of getting in the door. So, and you were talking about, Devin, you were talking about how do people come out to family members? So then there's kind of levels that you can use. For me, it was, oh yeah, my husband does paranormal investigations. And then, if they said, oh, that's so cool, because blah, 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 and then be like, oh yeah, well, yeah, by the way, he's also a medium. And then, oh, that's really, so then I could talk about it. But that was before Psychics Unite started. Now, I'm a medium. Now it's like,
Exactly.
For me, I need to talk about it with people. But now, for example, I do caregiving, and I work with a lot of older clients. And so I don't know where they are with that. So, and I'll put it out there like, oh, my husband, he does freelance work. Oh, what does he do? And I said, well, he's a medium, and he talks to people who have passed and helps people with, getting some closure and stuff like that. So I'll kind of use that, and they might kind of give me some looks, but as they get to know me, then once they start accepting me, then other things that I say will be more accepted.
Well, I've given one of her clients her sister in readings. And,
actually, almost the whole family
so.
has gotten because my client has a crush on him.
Who doesn't?
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
Anyway, but now what I do is, now I'm just okay with it, and I'll just say, oh yeah, I started this group to help people with psychic abilities, and I have these support groups and stuff like that. And I will say, because there's a lot of people out there who experience something and there's misinformation, and I'll say it's either a cult, it's demonic, they're going crazy, or they're perpetrating some fraud. So that's what people, and I describe it as misinformation. I say, there's so much misinformation out there that people think it's a cult, it's demonic, they're going crazy, or it's some kind of fraud. And then by introducing it that way, I've already hit the main objections.
Yeah.
And I've already expressed to them that these are misbeliefs and misinformation that's out there. So that way, if they already have that, now they're in the box of being a person of misbelief. So then they're not going to say, oh, I don't believe that. So
Right.
then it gives them more opportunity to come up with their things. And a lot of times, and I've said this before, I'll do the little camera thing. This is what happens when I tell people that I run a psychic group. Then I get this. They lean in and then they look, make sure nobody's listening. Okay, this is what happens to me. I never tell anybody, and I get that so often. And, that's why I tell people, go out and talk about it. Allow yourself to be authentic, be vulnerable, because, oh my gosh, more often than not, if you say that in a group of 3 or more people, somebody's going to have something. Like one time we were at we were at the Toledo. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to agree.
Yeah.
In any situation where I'm asked, what do you do for a living? I'm always very honest with them. Oh, I'm a psychic medium. And not only do I offer readings for individuals, but I also help others connect to their gifts. And I always get one of 2 responses. Oh my gosh, that's so fascinating. I've always wanted to get a reading, but I'm terrified because of some of those misinformation points that you pointed out, like the way that mediums are portrayed in the media, maybe a bad experience that they had prior to. They always feel like it's going to be something like, oh, you're going to tell me I'm going to go bankrupt or when I'm going to die. And that's not what a reading is really about at all.
Right.
Or I get the second response, which is, oh my gosh, I have no one to talk to. And since I've been working in this, I get a lot of that where these people are just absolutely relieved to know that they are not alone and what they're experiencing is valid.
And see, but look at how you've empowered people just by not being afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so you help so many people just by saying what you're experiencing. But what I would like to do. Oh, Jen, did you have some stuff that you
Yeah,
wanted?
Jen.
Yeah. Have you ever had someone come to you and say, oh, I have some sort of weirdness, or my daughter has some sort of weirdness? I mean, people say that like they're afraid to say that. And it's like, it's really okay to say it. It's like, you're in good company.
Well, and I think a lot of it too might be some carryover stigma from previous lifetimes, because a lot of us are coming off of a scenario where admitting something like that and you're a witch. And I think that's why personally I feel connected to this work, and also the healing of the witch wound work. That's also so much very needed, because they do kind of go parallel a lot of times. Those gifts or pathways will intertwine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have a couple in here. So Kelly in the chat room goes,
Soda.
yeah.
Sorry.
Kelly goes, kids need to know it's all good and not build up walls to block their gifts.
Yeah.
Then struggle as adults when they spontaneously open. I'm very interested in writing stories and/or books, screenplays tackling this topic. Kids, Kelly, you'll help us on our new webpage. We'll definitely hit Kelly up on this. So, and then Nick from Shadowhunters, the group leader, the one that runs this page. He goes, when I first started, he saw nothing. Now, because of doing paranormal investigations for 15 years, I can definitely say that I've opened my third eye and my abilities.
Yep.
Yeah, because the more you do this work, the more it expands. You might start off with one gift, and then all of a sudden you start having smells and hearing and sight. It's actually really cool. It's so much fun.
So
It is.
Julie, what's kind of funny, Julie O'Mara Webster goes, as Scotty says, I'm a recovering Catholic. I am. But I have a brother that's a priest, so I don't discuss investigations a lot and some of my family members. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I understand. And even my recovering Catholic self, my brother doesn't believe in what I do. Mom,
Does he come out and actually say that? Oh. Ow.
so Ken, if you're watching,
we got backup.
yeah.
That's right.
But that's what it is. I mean, that, it's tough. It's the same thing. Like I said, any one of us coming out and not being what somebody claims normal. I'm tired of that. That's why I wish we could come up with that's why I like using spiritual or psychic or something like that, because I'm tired of paranormal. That's dumb. Because why is it, unless we're making it the paranormal, that's the only way I would do it. We would have to rewrite the word. But everybody thinks it's another branch of something, and it's not. I mean, that's the thing that I want everybody to understand, that it's a part of everything. The spiritual beliefs, talking to dead people, seeing dead people, having them interact and work with us is all normal.
Well, what if, okay, so that the TV show, can we talk about the show that you're,
No,
okay,
not even,
okay.
no.
Well, okay, I'm just gonna note this idea down that I have, but anyway,
Okay,
um,
note it down.
okay, hold on, just give me a
So
second.
give her time to talk.
Um,
Jen, go.
Yeah,
Your
talk,
topic.
because I've got to write this off.
My topic. Okay.
Let's talk about kids. Let's talk about kids.
Okay. So what do you do when you have kids come to you or parents come to you and they're saying, hey, my kid is seeing things or they're having trouble sleeping? What do you do? What is your go-to?
I drop everything and help them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I do the same, but I mean,
But even in shows, even I was at Victory of Light in Cincinnati, the largest spiritual show in the United States. Love it, and who runs it?
Victor Pruda.
Hi, Victor. But even there, I was booked all day. This family came, a couple families that day came.
About 3 or 4.
I would stop my readings and I would drop and I would do theirs and I would do it for free. Because to me, when I was a kid, if I had Psychics Unite, I would have been great. I would have been wonderful, but I didn't. And this was the 60s and early 70s, and it's not a good time to see ghosts, and even today, there's still that stigma that it's not good to see ghosts. When we know all the ancient things had shamans, had oracles, they had all that. You saw it even in the Matrix. That they're all there. It's been that way forever. We've always had that spiritual leader and then that warrior. It's just been normal. So all those nations and all those societies believed it. And then we got into this where we now don't believe it because we want power. So I'm getting off my soapbox, but that's the thing, and we need to make sure that these kids feel comfortable from the moment they're on, and then like I even did a reading for the parent because I had to make sure the parent knew that they had to be okay with this.
Right. Now, Psychics Unite has a group for children, correct? Yes, no?
There's a Facebook group. Well, it's for youth mentors.
Okay.
Now what we want to do, and what I did a couple of years ago, but then you have, I talked to the principal at our local high school, and I came up with I had a poster of, who are the people that might be interested in. I called it the Psychic Club. Okay. The only reason we didn't get it started was because of you have to have a faculty advisor. Okay. So then what I thought about is that instead of calling it Psychic Club, call it the Psy Club, like PSI, Psychic Science Investigators. Okay. So if we put the word science in it, but I made a list of, you might be interested in this club if you, and then it's basically like, no, I know Devin and Jen, I think you've seen it too. Like some of our shows will have I'll just have like little colorful pieces of paper, and then we'll have a cutout board that says what the ability is, and then a description of it, and then people can initial what it is so that they can see, oh, other people have this too. And they can also learn about all the other ones and what they mean. So I made a list of all these different psychic abilities, a quick definition, so that that way students could just go and say, oh, that's what that's like a thing. Okay. And then they could potentially come to this group. Now, one of the reasons, and I don't have the sheet with me, but one of the forms that I made to promote it was explaining why it's important to have a group for kids with psychic abilities. And one of the things was that when a student has these abilities, especially empathic students in a high school with all that hormonal drama and emotional stuff, how is a student going to effectively do their work if they don't know how to control this and deal with this? So this
They
is
don't.
yes. And this is why we need to be in schools.
Devin's got
to
one
help us.
right now.
Yes. Yes.
I was one. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sitting here thinking, oh my God, had I had anything like this in my high school, my middle school,
Yep.
we could get this to the point where it's a normalized topic. I went through the first half of my life thinking that I was just highly imaginative.
Mhm.
Like, and that to me, you know, and I know that there's a reason for everything, and I'm not going to get too woe is me about it, but I'm like, you know, I could have been working with this a lot sooner,
Yeah,
and I
I
just
agree.
understood what was
True.
happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I
my
mean, it's so weird because after high school, I mean, I've reconnected with a lot of people who have the same things going on, and it was like it was a big secret at our school. Nobody said anything, even though all this stuff was going on. And now, fast forward, and now everybody is starting to talk about it, and it's amazing. But yeah, I agree, Devin. I mean, if we would have had Psychics Unite like years ago, like where have y'all been? Like for our entire life, we needed you all like years ago.
People feeding the cloud.
Right?
Yeah. But, and you know, Jen, I think we were having the experiences we needed to be able to effectively help with where we want to take Psychics Unite. And
Yeah.
I mean, like I can't help as much as I plan to, not having the stories and the perspectives as an empath, to be able to help others in the same situation.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think that all the life experiences that we have had up until this point was so that we would know what to do and how to help somebody else who's in a very similar situation, and to show them that, hey, yes, we've gone through the fire. We know what it's like, but you're going to be okay, and you can do this, and you are going to be thriving, and you'll be looking back one day and be like, oh my gosh, I did this and I never thought I could, and here I am today.
I just got the truth bumps.
Yeah.
Thursdays, 7 p.m. Shadow Hunters.
That's
And that's
right.
why I named my show Truth Bumps.
Event page.
Great name. Yeah. Well, and see, and then also with that, I felt that, you know, if we could test it in the high school, let's just test it, because high school students are going to, you know, everybody's joining a club in school anyway. So, you know, this is just another, and kids are so interested in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, ooh, cool. And so it would be really fun to do, or even have like some kind of like table tipping display just to get them into it or something. But then I thought if it was effective at the high school level, we could prove it at that level, and then we could take it down to middle school. And then if we could prove it there, then we could take it down, you know, because ideally you want to help the kids right at the beginning. You don't want them to struggle for all these years and get so far behind in their ability to work. I mean, could we as Psychics Unite work together to find programming that would help students learn better? Like, how can we help a child in the classroom when they have this? Or
Meditation.
educate, yes.
Oh my God, please start meditation in
Yeah.
early education, preschool.
And how can we educate?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. How can we educate teachers?
Yes,
What-
adults.
When the child is off looking or talking to somebody in the corner, what's going on? You know, and just to be able to educate the educators to be aware of this kind of stuff. And actually, we were in Toledo at an event, and you know, we were having like a Psychics Unite sign up thing, and we met some people who were teachers, and we were talking about it. And she said, you know, but I wouldn't be a faculty advisor. And I was like, why wouldn't you? And she said, because of the stigma it would have. And I thought, oh my gosh. Okay, I understand that. I don't, but maybe I don't understand what kind of stigma that would have for her career. I don't know. However, I guess there's decisions that I've had to make in my life that have not been popular, but I made them. And in the process of making them, I saw how it helped so many people in the long run because I did.
Yes.
And, I so want to encourage people, even if you're afraid, just do it anyway. Do the right thing because it'll all work out. It'll be worth it.
If you're feeling called to do it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any teacher all over the country, we want to do this.
Teachers,
and wherever it is. So if we can get one, that's the thing. We just need to get one to start.
To be a faculty advisor.
And if we can get one group and get
it
it to work, then we can then prove it at other districts and go see it already works in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have some teacher friends. If you see this and you're interested, let us know.
I think I know of one you might be referring to.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah. Okay, so changing topic just a little bit. Do we need to go through, and I know you do, you've talked to a lot of other mediums on your show and stuff. Do we need to kind of go through what some of the different abilities are so that people are just kind of aware of it? Should we just kind of do that? Okay. Sure. I'm going to start naming some things off.
By the way, tonight's show is called Terri Talks About.
Terri Talks About. Oh, you know what? Oh. So back when Scott was doing his other radio shows more often, I said, if I ever had a radio show, I would call it Don't Get Me Started.
I like that. That's cute.
Get me started.
So Nick, we might have another show on Shadow Hunters.
Don't get me started. I like that.
Started with Terri Rorek.
Man,
you do have 2 more days in the week.
I know, a few more.
Well, there's more time slots beyond what we've got too.
Yeah, we're all just 7 o'clock across the board. So
yeah. But anyway, so
I'll get her started.
Let's I don't have the sheet of paper in front of me, but I'm just gonna kind of go down. This is the list of stuff. Okay, first of all, let's go through the clairs. The basic clairs, the clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is when you can see things that other people probably can't, whether it's spirits, now that would be like aura seeing would be a part of that. When you see, colors around people that are, their energy, that would be aura seeing, which is a form of clairvoyance. Clairaudience. And again, ladies, raise your hand to chime in if there's to add to those. Yes.
Well, just a real quick side note on clairvoyant, that can be with your physical eye or your mind's eye. I thought because I could see with my mind's eye, I wasn't clairvoyant, and Scotty quickly corrected me.
Correct.
Yeah. And since I've been working with this, I can see more physically. Sorry. Go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
Clairaudience, you can physically hear it, or you might be hearing it within using your psychic ears. So just because somebody else doesn't hear it doesn't mean that you're not hearing it at all.
I've had both experiences, both with my physical ear and inner ear.
And too many people that I talk with, I'll just use Devin because she even admitted it. But I mean, it's the fact that we hear it in our mind's voice. We think that's our voice, and it really isn't. That's just the easiest way for them to connect, because spirits don't have vocal cords to make sounds. So how are they getting us to try to do it? They're trying to affect energy or what, spirit boxes or other things. They're trying to come through other ways, and that's why we do that in the thing. But the clairaudience and clairvoyance is there. I mean, because at one time I did a reading and I got pictures of desperate housewives, so I knew that there was problems. I knew there was divorce and that type of stuff. And that's what I saw right away going in. I was like, oh, okay, I know where we're going.
They talk in code sometimes. Yeah.
Right, they do, but,
Yes.
but then you always go, oh, I got it. Yeah,
okay.
I know where we're going. So the rest of the reading is going to go this way now. Okay, got it. But so there's multiple ways to receive it. Not everybody receives it in both ways. some receive it in one way, some do in the other, it's just, or both. I mean, so there's a lot of different ways. And that's the biggest thing that I want to talk about too, before we get going into all these other things, is the fact that the more we accept everything we have, because not everybody has everything and not everybody has nothing. We are somewhere on that spectrum. We're somewhere, and everybody feels something different. And that's what makes it so exciting for me, is to be able to get messages from people that are very similar, because down the road, the three of us will be doing a show together in Indianapolis, because there's no shows down there. So we're going to be doing that once COVID's over. But when you see all three of us working on stage together, it's going to be amazing, because we all read different. And that's what's incredible. So that's why I don't want anybody. And that's, I told both of you guys, because both of you have been my students. And I said to both of you, I don't want you to be Scotty Rorek.
Right.
I want you to be Devin. I want you to be Jen. It's what I want you to be. And I want you to be better than me. I want you to be the best you can be. And that's what it's important. And that's what we have to do, when we're teaching and through Psychics Tonight, is to know that this is not about the ego. It's about bringing that person to their potential. Vince Lombardi had to start football, to me, that's who I think started football, because he made it popular, and that's the same thing. He was a head coach. He wasn't a player, so coaches have to be there just as strong as the people doing.
Yep, that makes total sense. And another big thing is not to compare yourself to others, because as we stated before, you will read or have your own experiences that aren't going to be quite like anybody else's. And that's just part of your unique signature. Psychic abilities are kind of like a fingerprint. It's just the way that you get the messages. And they evolve, they shift, they change, they grow. I've heard recent stories where the way people used to receive messages is not how they receive them now anymore. And any of those scenarios can happen. It's perfectly natural. It's perfectly normal.
And the other thing too is that there's no race to get there. Everybody gets there in their own time, and there's no age where there's no age limit. Like, you don't have to start at 5 or 7 or whatever. You start wherever you are, and you just work at your own pace. You will get to where you're supposed to go, but don't rush it. It's not a race.
Yep. That's a great point.
Yep.
I'm trying to go back to look in our thing. I think maybe it was Julie in our chat room. She said that, what about coming out at 50?
Oh, yeah.
I think she came
Yeah.
out at 50. So, I mean, it's whatever age that you are accepting the fact that Spirit talks with us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And want to make that connection again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry,
Right.
no COVID, just allergies.
Okay.
I was outside all day yesterday, so I'm just like, oh,
Understand.
All right.
We got clairvoyant, clairaudient.
Let's talk about claircognition. And this,
Oh.
I didn't really think of that as being something that I had until I listened to a lady talk about it. And she said, like when you're just doing your thing and all of a sudden a thought pops into your head and it's like, oh, that's the answer to the question I was thinking about, or that's this, or, and sometimes people say, well, it's just your subconscious mind is working on that. But, a lot of times for me personally, stuff will just come to me. Like, I'll just know the answer to something all of a sudden. And now sometimes it will be, I'll just put it out there. Like, I'm interested in that. I mean, lately now I just use Google. Like, I say, okay, Google, and I think that, it just went off.
Hi,
Sorry, I didn't
hello,
get that.
overlords named
Yeah.
Google.
Anyway, but I use it all the time. And so, I get answers from the internet, but a lot of times when it's the deeper, more important things in life, I'll all of a sudden get it. And I'm just like, I don't even know where that came from, but all of a sudden I just have it. And she said, it's that type of thing where it's not something you're working on, it's not something else, but you just know something. Or sometimes when I'm talking to a person and they need some advice and I really don't know what to say, but I just let my mouth keep rambling. And it's almost like I take a step back and just keep talking. And then, oh, I so needed to hear that. And I kind of look at that as almost kind of a claircognition as well, or is it's probably
Oh, it
maybe
is.
whatever, but
No, I would agree with that because often when that happens, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, this makes no sense. I'm totally putting my foot in my mouth here. And then at the end of it, they're like, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, great. Perfect. That worked out.
But
yeah,
you're right, that's a part of our claircognition, but it's also part of channeling.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Say
I
you
think,
channel,
but I think claircognition is channeling.
I think it's a part of it, yes.
Because
Yeah.
it's like you're like hooked up to something and that information just
But
boom
but
came
I
in.
say claircognition is knowing something as much as you know your name is Scott.
Yes. My claircognition shows up the most in ruining movie plots within the first 5 minutes.
I agree.
I mean, I can name at least 4 or 5 people who can attest to that.
Mhm.
The only one I didn't see was Sixth Sense. That one got me. So I admit it.
M. Night Shyamalan usually gets me. Every once in a while, and I love it when I am because I genuinely love the twist turn.
Oh
And I'm like,
no!
oh, I didn't see that coming, and I'm so excited. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why you go. If you could figure it out at the beginning, what's the point of going, right?
Right.
So yeah.
The
How
popcorn.
about you, Jen? How's it come to you?
It's again, like everybody else, it's just something that pops into my mind that I just know, or like as Devin said, you're rambling on about something and you have no idea if you're on the right track or not. And then, they're saying, great, that you've helped me. I mean, oh my gosh, whatever. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it works for me too.
Okay, well then let's move on to the next one.
Clairsentient.
Clairsentient. Okay.
Yes, I wore deodorant.
Okay, so clairsentient would be as you are feeling something. Ladies, can you give examples of maybe how you felt clairsentient? Do you have that?
I feel vibrations in crystals and stones.
Okay.
I can feel and regardless of what previous authors have said, the qualities of the stone, if I'm doing any type of work where I want that energy brought in, I'm always going by what I feel instead of what's written.
And do you find that, and now I'm just going to take a little tangent on stones, because a lot of times that you read books on stones, they're all different depending on the author.
Yes.
And I that to me says, you know what, you really have to use your own intuition for what's right for you.
Yes.
Or
I
if you are
Absolutely.
working with a client and they are doing something with stones, you either have to use what makes sense to you, or if you get some kind of claircognition about what's going to work for them. But yeah, I think I'm putting less and less faith in books that say this is what it does. It's just too I think it's too flexible. I
Yeah.
think it's like one of those things that it gives you what you need.
Well, and think about it, it's all energy, right? So the energy and the quality of that energy that was perceived at the time that the book was written is what reflected off of the author's energy at that time as well. So like if somebody's asking me, what do you think about this stone? What do you know about this stone? The first thing, it almost goes back to that IT question. Is it plugged in? Is it turned on? The first thing I ask them is, when you hold it in your hand and you close your eyes and you take a deep breath, what do you feel?
Right.
And like immediately they're like, oh, I get it. But it's just so subtle. And we live in a society where it's just too busy, hustle and bustle, that we lose out on those subtle perceptions that are just telling us where to go, what to do.
But that's where I believe COVID's helped us.
Yes, I agree.
And the other thing is we go into this too is I don't think people understand their own energy as well as they should. And that's why I always teach that in class.
Mm-hmm.
I know I didn't before I started classes. I had no idea that so much of what I was feeling was not my own. It was almost breathtaking. Like it took me a couple days to wrap my head around it.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's great when, he's had us all to check in at different times and see how are we feeling. And it really does force you to take a look. Okay, is this my energy or is this somebody else's? Am I, kind of merging energy, which we know we aren't supposed to do. Am I merging energy with somebody else? So yeah, I think that's been one of the greatest lessons that I've learned also.
That's, and that's number one in my book. Everyone goes, how do I talk to spirit? Meditate. What? Yes.
I know. And that's why I want to do a segment on, why meditation is so important, and not to roll your eyes at it, because there is strong power in being present in the moment, and meditation helps you to get there. Because if you are in the moment without any judgments or to-do lists running through your head, messages will come. And we've talked about this in a meeting before, how to be instead of do. When you stop thinking about your productivity and a to-do list and what you want to get done instead of how you want to be, it's just a completely different shift in your perception.
Yeah. Allison just put this in the chat room, that it would be nice for young people to learn this. And this is where it has to start.
Yeah.
Young people have to learn their own energies. I mean, even old people have to do it. We all do. And that's, to me, what's the toughest thing. And, I even, when I first started reading, I used to do this meditation and all this long list stuff to, get into reading, trying to ground and all. And I think that was way more ego, because it was more like, oh, look, I'm a medium, I have to do this to be able to read. Now I can just go, boom, start right now, because I go to my meadow and I come right back. I come from the place of peace. I come from the place of understanding. And once you're there, then the rest just comes out very simply,
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, that happened, a couple of weeks ago, just reading a question, there was messages there, and I was just doing a general chat with people, and that happened. And it's amazing how that happens, but you really do have to put in the work of meditation and knowing your own body and knowing what your energy is versus somebody else's energy before you can really do it effectively and help somebody else.
All right. Now,
do you guys put smells in clairsentient?
Well, no,
it has its own, but I think it's under that category.
I think clairsentient is the umbrella, personally.
Okay. Well, and I was going to ask, do you think empathy is part of clairsentient?
Yes.
Because it's such that's the first thing that comes up when I think of clairsentient. Like, I'm feeling things all of the time.
Right.
From different people. I understand what they might be feeling. I understand why they might be feeling. And just because you're not, it's not a physical touch. Again, it's like that inner feeling.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I do that a lot. But even like you were saying with crystals, I mean, that's a huge thing. Or even though I know reading an object is psychometry, I mean, you still feel the energy and the impressions from an object if you're holding it, or really just looking at an object too.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, that was another one of the things. I mean, because we covered the 4 main umbrella clairs, right? And then there's the different types of characteristics under that. So then there would be like a medium, that would be a person who could communicate, could receive information from those in spirit and relay that. There would be medical intuitive, a person who can sense what's going wrong with the person's body and give advice that way. There is, and Jen, like you were saying, the psychometrist who could sense something from touching it. There is telepaths, identical twins, frequently, who can communicate with one another, which kind of falls into the category of, I would say, animal communicator as well, which is a form of telepathy, which I think, and I think a lot of these have overlap. We try to break them down into specific things so that we can label them, but I think a lot of them are all just, like if everything is kind of the same thing, and then it's like an amoeba, it's got little spots that stick out. Well, we label the spots that stick out so that we can kind of define it.
Yeah.
So,
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, because the way that I read an animal is the same way that I read a ghost.
mhm,
It's the same way that I
Absolutely.
read someone who's sitting with me.
right.
It's like it's the exact same process, feeling, sensation that I would get, and the same perceptions that I would be able to relay any messages from any three of those origins.
Yeah.
So I got the word clairsalience is smelling.
What is it?
Clairsalience, SALIENCE.
Oh, okay.
And then clairgustance
Is a taste.
is taste.
Mhm.
So I had my first taste
Clair
a couple weeks ago. For whatever the reason, I could taste McDonald's.
Nice.
I was like, well, if you're going to give me a taste, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Teasing you and saying, Devin, this is what I'm having.
It's like,
I'm
it
having
was-
this too.
I
You're
love-
not gaining any weight.
I love that everyone thinks oh, listen, it's going to be so profound. And here I'm like, McDonald's. And sometimes that's what it's like, though.
Yep.
You know, that's the same thing. Everybody in the past life thinks they were a king.
Nope.
It was a lot of things, but that hasn't come up for me.
Yeah, me neither.
Nope.
I'll tell you off the air. I bet you guys already know what it means. So
Oh,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that I put on that list for the high schools of people who might be interested, I also put paranormal investigators.
Mhm. Yeah.
They're
Yep.
interested in that kind of stuff because I would think that it would be interesting for students to do that as part of their club. I mean, like, wouldn't it be cool if you had high school, kids would be interested in the club just for that alone, and
Yes,
do little
I
things.
would have.
Now, we have actually done presentations at libraries where we did like a mock investigation, but it was with students, and we went through as if we were really investigating, and we had them ask the questions and everything else. So kids are very much interested in that, and they've heard things and seen things in school and class, and they don't have a place to go with this. So I mean, that's even here, like I said, in Seymour, is one of the places that we've done it. Jennings County is another one where the library has had us come in and work with the students there. So yeah.
That's really cool.
That's so cool. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Another thing I put on that list is for people who might be interested in the club, skeptics.
Yeah.
If you want to come and
Oh,
talk,
please do.
I just get so tired of people who call themselves skeptics. They hide behind a mask of skepticism, but when you take off the skeptic mask, it's actually just a naysayer or a denier. And I call them now, I call them sensory deniers. People who deny that psychic ability can occur. I'm gonna put it out there because the guy's dead now. James Randi was a sensory denier. Okay. And because they'll say, well, there's
don't
science
get her
tonight.
started.
Don't get me started. Get me started on that. Anyway,
But no, it does get frustrating when you're working with someone who's like, oh, I'm just a skeptic. But everything that they're saying and throwing down is like, I love skeptics. Just be open-minded.
yeah.
I'm
That's what
just,
a skeptic is. I just want more information.
The other one's a cynic.
Cynic, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
it's just a naysayer. But
So Kelly says, this is really cool. We're talking about this stuff. Kelly says, my library has kits to rent out for kids and families, paranormal investigation kits, a witchboard,
Oh, wonderful.
nice, a K2 and flashlights and other equipment. Isn't
Oh,
it
that
cool?
is
Okay,
so
so I would
cool.
ask, is there do they also provide information on how to use it in a respectable manner and how to shut things down and how to open them up. And because, you know, we you've talked on other shows about Ouija boards and how it's a divination tool, just like your K2 and your, you know, your
Everything
audio
else in there
it's all
is
divination
all,
tool.
they're all
Your
divination.
tarot.
That's
But
all they are.
you
Tarot,
have to,
tarot.
right,
I mean, it's
right.
all divination, folks. All
Yeah.
the same.
Right.
Yes.
But when you buy a Ouija board as a, you know, a game, okay, there isn't the instructions on how to, if you are going to be communicating with spirits, how do you do it? First of all, you want to be respectful, but also to be able to open something up, but then also close it down
Close
and
it.
say, we are done now.
Right.
You know, and to put stuff out without having that can be irresponsible.
Yep, Allison in the chat room says she just worries if people don't know how to cleanse and protect
Mhm.
themselves.
Yep.
It's really, and intent, I think, is the biggest
Yep.
word. If you
Yes.
put your intent out there, it is. You know, what's funny is because, and I'm just going to call her out, and I don't know if she's watching today, but our group leader in Oshkosh, Dawn, they did a Ouija board session this weekend, and they had the one planchette take almost an hour to go all the way across the board to know. It's like, I said, so did you channel a sloth?
Maybe someone messing
The
with
great
you.
sloth of Mesopotamia has come through and into your Ouija board. And now
The ghosts are like, watch this. This is gonna be hilarious.
where's it going? Hour later. No.
But you know, as we were like talking through this, I just had a flash, like if we could start like Psychics Unite youth camps where a week,
Yeah.
where you're going through how to work with some of these pieces of equipment, and maybe you arrange for an investigation and give them that experience
Mhm.
in a controlled setting where you've got mentors and guides, and it's more one-on-one than it is just here's a kit. But I think just
that's even
having a
cool,
kit,
though.
huh?
I think that's cool, though.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I was about to say having the kit in the library is absolutely profound. That's an
Yeah.
amazing start, because a lot of the times I'm learning by experimentation.
Mhm.
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 What happens when I do this? What happens
Yeah.
when I do that?
Well, and the fact is that it's just there.
Yes.
Where somebody might not have even considered it. And the fact that it's just there, that, oh, what's this? Okay, let's think about it. You know, just having that opportunity to even discover it there,
Yeah.
you know, and start thinking about it. So
Hello,
yeah,
Sarah. Welcome. So we got a
Mhm.
lot of people still joining the room
Um,
tonight, so that's really cool.
Hi,
But-
everyone.
You guys okay to go? We'll go to Hogan's Heroes.
Good.
Yeah, I'm okay.
We're good.
we get Green Acres on right now.
So yeah, Hogan's Heroes come up next on me.
This is how we gauge our Psychics Unite meetings too, by the old
Yeah.
time.
But
old time
how
show.
close are we to Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah. And the reason why we don't do these in the afternoon is because Scott likes Judge Judy. So we can't. There's a window between Judge Judy and Hogan's Heroes.
Well, it starts out at Hot Bench, and then it goes to People's Court, Judge Judy, and so that's my afternoon schedule.
But you know, that's a great example of being authentic. You own that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that's
My
part of
show
who
is
you are.
Hogan's Heroes. It's on at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, right
See,
here.
and, you know, it used to be that analog technology, I think analog technology is sometimes a lot easier. Like if we wanted to watch a show later, we take a tape and we put it in the VCR and we would just record it. But now, and then we went to TiVo and we had a TiVo, which was amazing. But now we don't have TiVo, and some of these stations are not, you know, they're not something that you can pause and record
They're
or
over the
stream.
air.
So yeah, they're just over the air. So now, I don't know, what is it now, 30 some years later, you can't even record a TV show.
Yeah, but we're back to when I was a kid, when it was the same thing. You had 4 channels, and you
And you
watch
just
your
had to
show
watch 'em.
at 8 o'clock
But I
on
mean,
Tuesday nights.
If you
Was
could,
MASH or whatever, you know, it
if
was
you
there.
could
You had to
record
watch
it,
it.
yeah, we're kind of
We've gone backwards.
gone backwards there. Like, you know, how many of you, okay, it's
It's
old.
vintage.
Don't get her
Yeah.
started.
Don't get me started on how I used to listen to Casey Kasem's Top 40 and wait for
Oh
the songs
yeah.
that I like and push record and make my cassette tape.
Yeah.
So easy nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Now we push our cassette recorder and get ghosts.
Yeah.
So now it's a lot
that's what
better.
you know. But anyway, other psychic ability categories that you ladies can think of. I know there's some that I skipped over.
Sorry, Jen. do you have-
Jennifer, your great niece is your great aunt is here. Debbie,
Oh, yeah.
she says hi.
Hi. Hey, she's coming in from Virginia.
Oh, neat.
Yay.
Yeah.
So did I say hi to Sarah? I think I did. Allison, hi, and I think there's a lot of cool people still in the chat room. So
Cool.
So
Jenny
two-
Gurney.
Yeah.
Sorry, two that I come to mind are bilocation or remote viewing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I had remote viewers on there. Yeah.
And by location, that's a big one.
Oh, and the other one was out of body experiencers and near death experience. Well, near death experiencers and out of body or astral travel.
Or ET.
Right.
Yeah.
ET. But I think the whole ET thing would kind of fall into the category of mediumship because it's not just that, that
So that would be channeling too.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
I was gonna say
channeling.
that's, yeah.
I
yeah,
think I've channeled
or-
ET before. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Um,
Yeah, that's there.
let's see.
Huh?
I said, what else is there? I mean, there's
Oh, what else is
channeling
there?
and
yeah.
remote viewing, psychometry.
Sparkly,
Like,
sparkly eyes.
Oh, I know. I had
I'm
empaths.
about to talk about sparkly eyes, but you can go next.
Well, because sparkly eyes reminds me.
Okay.
What's
All
this
right. Well, there's
sparkly eye?
empaths,
Let's tell
of
you.
course, which is to experience to overlap with the energy of somebody else and thus pick up their whatever they're feeling or whatever.
Which
With
is the
some
number rule in my
disastrous
class.
results.
Never mix energy. But anyway.
Don't
Well, and what we do is I think we meet it to just at the edge, right? So that we can perceive and get information, but we're not overlapping, we're not mingling. That's a hard lesson for a lot of empaths, myself included.
Tina also says hi, by the way, Jen. You got lots of people watching tonight.
yay, hi guys.
Okay, sparkly
And
eyes. Let's talk. I want to talk about
I
sparkly.
wanted to finish the.
Okay, go finish.
Okay,
Don't get
you
her
act like
started.
you're married.
Get me started. Okay, so the reason why I went, okay, so there was empaths, but then I also included earth empaths. Those would be the people who are sensing the energy of the stones, of the
Trees.
ley lines, whatever. The people that are picking up the earth energies. And on Earth, is that a song?
That's Earth
It is now.
Angels, but it is now.
Oh, Earth energies. I'm not gonna even go there. I'm singing. Sorry. But that comes
Yes.
into the sparkly eyes, which is kind of affecting Earth stuff. That's what made me think of it.
All right,
Yeah.
sparkly
When you talk
eyes.
about sparkly eyes.
So if you haven't seen Men Who Stare at Goats, go see the
See
movie.
it?
It by
Okay.
far is it seems weird and stuff, but it was
Great movie.
it was the United States had their own psychic group, and this whole movie's about it. They make it come off very silly, even with the name, but everything they did was real. And in one scene there, we talk about us being able to affect energies. So, storms, rain, those are energies. Clouds, energies. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of particles.
Jesus had sparkly eyes.
Yes, he did. So it was really funny. I decided after that movie, I'm going to try it. I took a cloud, I looked at it, and I used my sparkly eyes on it, and I dispersed the cloud.
Nice.
And so we were out with a shaman that I have in the area here, really good friend. We went over to his house, and his girlfriend at the time was there, and she didn't quite believe what sparkly eyes. And so we went down by the lake and we sat there, and we said, pick a cloud, and John and I will sparkly eyes it. And we sat there, and within about 2 or 3 minutes, the cloud was gone.
Oh wow.
I mean, right, it didn't like float away. It was right
then it
there.
just
And it, like,
breaks apart.
breaks
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah. So
And we did 2 of them. And then she said, do one more. We said, this is not a game, but we'll do one more. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So she picked out a very big one. And so we said, it's going to take a couple more minutes, but we were able to sparkly eyes it away. You know, and I believe at like the wedding I did, it was raining all the time and we sparkly eyes in the morning and to make sure the storm stayed away. And then I said, okay, because you still want to make sure the rain, you know, still needs to be in specific places. So you move it back at night, maybe it comes later, but you move it back to, you know,
Right.
get it there. But we can affect that energy because it's the same thing as we do with spirits. It's the same thing. It's energy creating and working with energy. That's all it is. But that's why we call it sparkly eyes.
Mhm. Yep.
we're going to put you in charge of climate change control then.
All
There
right,
we go.
I'm in.
But I mean, I think right there, I wanted to just reiterate that, like, that's one of the biggest things that I learned is that when you do one thing, you're basically you're doing them all.
Mhm.
So like, okay, the first time that I talked to a spirit, I was like, oh, okay, I see what this feels like. And then all of a sudden I could talk to a ghost. And then all of a sudden I could talk to an animal because I was just doing the same thing and I wasn't standing in my way of having that experience. It's the same, like it's the same experience, same gift, just different subject.
Mhm.
I already talked to Ben Hansen, so nobody can take the show. But I wanted to be the what was it? Ghost. What was it? Storm chasing ghost hunter.
I like that.
Where I could go out in the field when the storm's coming and go change direction.
And the thing that I have that's hard for me.
And Ben thought it was a good show, so
That's cool.
I told Ben he's got to produce it for me. We can go do it.
Nice.
You know, and I just have, I'm skeptical. I'm just gonna say, not a naysayer, but I'm trying to figure out how do you validate the weather changing thing because clouds are constantly moving and constantly in flux of evaporation and condensation. So for me, I'm like, well, I don't have a control by which to tell whether that's actually working or not working.
James Randi reincarnated.
No, I'm just saying without a control, it's hard to know whether that cloud was going to do that or not.
Oh, it's going to
Because
sit right
you
in front of
can't-
you and go away and not float away.
Well,
So, from a scientific,
And this didn't. That's what it was right there
it stayed in the same spot
until it
didn't
went
move.
away.
yeah.
It was in the same place in the sky, and then it went away because the clouds were out there. Go ahead.
Okay.
Dan.
No, I think from a scientific standpoint, Terry, you're right. It would be hard to like have a control and then a test. But Scotty, I think the way that you prove that is instead of saying it's not a game, over the course of time, we're going to have several different witnesses, 10 scientific witnesses, and we're going to continue to repeat to do this and prove that we can do this over and over and over. I mean, I think you would just be willfully stubborn to deny something happening 10 times in a row within 2 hours. You know what I mean?
But the guys in Men's Goats did this repeatedly.
Yeah.
They were in the U.S. government, and this was a part. Even though he made fun of it by calling it sparkly eyes, it was something that group did, and they were able to pinpoint a lot of places through remote viewing and everything.
Yep.
So it is just a part of. So from your scientific thing, the U.S. government's already done it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I
already
agree.
proved it, even though the movie Men at Stare at Goats makes fun of it by calling it sparkly eyes.
Mhm.
It's still something that they did. They tried to determine if there was a fight and stuff to move storms, to move things so the weather would be better for them. They tried.
Yeah.
So, and now they say that never happened, but that's the U.S. government.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And it wouldn't be the first time in history, world history, where governmental agencies have tried to work with supernatural abilities or
Area
paranormal.
51.
sensory. Yeah, I just watched, I'm a big scary movie fan, and I just watched Overlord, which was all about World War II and working with some pretty like paranormal stuff. So
We're pretty cool because I watch Hogan's Heroes.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you start to hear a rumor so long and so often, you got to know that it's not a rumor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 12 minutes.
Okay,
left.
yeah, so
go ahead.
Allison wants to say, can you talk a little bit about ascension? Are light workers experiencing it now? Others as
I
such
need-
as indigos, et cetera, can anyone be an experience?
I really, I'm kind
You're
of,
frozen. Oh, no,
I
just
just have a little bit of again, a little bit of a skepticism on the whole indigo thing. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I mean, I've seen stuff on it, but I don't know what the validation behind that is. How you really justify what is indigo and what is not. So on that particular thing, I don't include that in any Psychics Unite stuff. No, it's for light workers. And again, I guess there's
you channel
what
light language.
yeah, but I'm saying for light workers, that's to me, that is somebody doing something that is in alignment with their purpose. So I guess the definition for light worker could be very open. So I'm not sure how that's defined.
So the term light worker, as I understand it, is anyone who's using their energy, their intention, or their gifts to be able to bring peace, love, and light to the world. So especially like in a time right now in the United States when we're kind of going through our election, it's very anxiety filled. You don't even have to be an empath to be able to feel it. But this would be a great time to, as a light worker, hold your community in your mind's eye with white light and I am all about, so I know in the community, I want to touch a little bit about, just being aware of like spiritual whitewashing. And I totally get that that's a thing. And I'm constantly evolving my personal practice to ensure that I'm not, I'm not practicing that or falling trapped to that. But with that, I think there is an opportunity to hold and send more positive intention and grounding energies to your local communities and the world. If there's enough of us doing this, then the idea is that that light work actually helps to ascend the people of the time.
Mm-hmm. Jen, did you have anything on that? Okay.
No.
So I believe ascension is always happening, and I believe that's part of what we're going through now as a nation.
Okay,
and
but
a world,
define what ascension is.
is moving to a higher level.
Okay, on
Next level.
Yeah, spiritual.
Moving to the next level.
Okay, so again, how I need to get it for me personally to get this, I need to know what criteria you're using to validate what is this level and what is that level.
Go ahead, Devin.
Like, what's the difference between this level and that?
So Terry, your next level is completely different than my next level, completely different than Jen's or Scotty's or that water buffalo over there. Next level is just, it's a ascension is a term used to say that so if you started at this level and there were some lessons to learn in this gap between this level and the next level, you've learned as much as you can. You're starting to go up into the next level for new experiences. So a really good example would just be your simple elementary school. You start first grade and you've got this, intention of things that you want to experience and learn, concepts that you want to gather. And then as you're going through first grade and you're concreting all of this new information, the experiences, the awarenesses, the lessons, then all of a sudden it's time to graduate into second grade. And again, at the beginning of second grade, you're starting all over again, but you're bringing with you what you had from first grade. And you build upon that, you build upon that. And this is just how I personally see when we talk about ascension or leveling up in our soul experiences. This is how it feels to me.
But you already leveled up because you were Charlie Brown's rock. Now you aren't Charlie Brown's rock anymore. Now you're a channeler. you are cognizance, which you've always had, but now you're using it. So you leveled up. You know, that's
Right.
just like, but that's also like your game analogy of the world. You think the world's a game.
It is a
So,
game.
right. So it's leveling
Just
up,
leveling up
getting to the next level.
Okay, but let's go back to the question in there so that I can understand, am I
Read it
using
then.
it in the proper context then?
But
Okay.
but that's what I believe, and that's why I believe COVID came, and that's why I believe Trump came, and that's why I believe Biden's coming. I all believe this is for us to move in this level as a nation. It is time for us to become and give love and live of love and not be of this negative things that are out there. That's why I see it, and that's why I don't want to get into the politics, but that's why I see it. It's got to be, we got to get to a place of love. And so the ascension and the next level of this world is to embrace what we've been talking about all night, because the spiritual belief is the next level for most people.
Okay. So the question here is, can you talk a little bit about ascension? Check. Are light workers experiencing it now?
Constantly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's it. It's not just now. It's like,
It's
Yeah.
all
Yeah, you're
well,
always, everybody's always evolving and leveling up to the next level. We all have lessons, and once we've completed those, we go to the next one to learn even more lessons.
right.
I agree, but then
Absolutely.
now there's one other thing, Jen. I don't believe everybody's doing it though. And I believe certain people block it, you know, and we run into those,
Right.
you know, and you know, we can guarantee I will say the same names, you know, from some of the paranormal people we know that don't move forward. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You are absolutely right. You know, they stay in that same because they don't want to look outside of what they know. So they're just going to keep themselves at a level where they're comfortable with.
Exactly. And that's my only thing. And so I believe that the majority of us need to ascend. We all should. We need to continue working that. And that's where it needs to happen, but not everybody does it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I think another way of saying ascension is just striving to know ourselves better, more completely, more authentically. When something bothers you, taking the time out enough to understand where inside of me is that pulling from? Why did that bother me? Um, those are the small steps that make really big improvements in our relationships with ourselves, because the better relationship we have with ourselves, the better relationship we can have with the world. The other thing that I was going to point out is what you might be talking about when you're asking about ascension right now. I do think since COVID hit, especially in the United States and the worldwide, it all started to ramp up. There has been this global collective of halt, like to a point where it's whiplash, and it's forced us, and Scotty, you touched on this briefly earlier. This stop in the world has absolutely forced us to have to take a look at some of the parts of ourselves that were really hurting. So it was no longer a society where we could bury ourselves into our daily work, come home, cook dinner. We had more time and space, and it was more aware of some of the things that had come up that we had to deal with. So I do think that there was a lot of time, and there still is, where we're doing some individual healing, we're doing better communications, we're having more experiences with our guides.
See, that's where I was going to go. It's spiritually, it is, because you know everyone goes, why are more people feeling spirit now? It's, well, because they're slowed down. They're not running and cooking dinner and then going out to the sporting event and then coming home and watching TV and then going to bed and not hearing. When we're home all the time, spirit comes and talks with us just like they always do. But now, because it's quieter and we're not doing as much, we hear it.
Yes.
And that's a part of the leveling up. That's a part of the ascension that's happening. And more people are feeling this. And that's why it's starting, to me, it's exciting, because everybody should have this in their life.
Yep.
I just got something. Don't know if it's accurate or not. I'm going to put it out there.
Stop. We don't say, just put it out there.
I'm just going to put it out there. A thought just came to me. Could it be possible that the reason why we're having to deal with so much so quickly right now, obviously it's because we have a lot more people and therefore there's a lot more going on. So that's one of the factors. But could it be that the potential existential crisis that is coming because of our increased population and thus damaging effects on the planet, which again could wipe us out potentially or dramatically reduce us. Could that be forcing us to hit these levels sooner because we won't have much of a chance much longer? Is that a possibility?
I think that's part of it. I think more what umbrellas that is that we're being called to do better as a race, as a nation, as a world. What we are headed toward, it's almost like if you come from corporate, it's almost like an action plan. All right, this is where you're at. This is where we need you to be. So here's some things that are going to happen to help you get to where you need to be to keep going and working with us. Us being some stuff that I'm not sure we want to get into tonight. So.
Yeah. You know, and Nate puts it too, you know, it's neat to see because Oregon just made psychedelics not a problem.
I was going to share that link with you, Terry. Yeah, they just legalized, I can't pronounce it, psycho what?
Psychedelics?
Psychedelics?
No, the specific name, a psilocybin or
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin, yeah.
Psilocybin.
oh, I can't pronounce it. Hey,
Well, and as it should be because it's a natural occurring thing. It's a plant, and I just believe that it's completely immoral for any individual, organization, or government to make plants illegal, to make life forms illegal. How can you make life illegal?
great.
And
It's
and my thing
ridiculous.
is,
Well, it's just control.
if life
We're
is
at 2
illegal,
hours.
oh
So
yay!
because don't get her started.
Don't get me started. We're gonna
I
be
can't
all
believe it's already been 2
I-
hours. Oh God,
I
I'm sorry.
know. It went so quick.
We'll have to have you guys back. I already got the banner.
right.
Sure. Absolutely.
I would love to. Yes.
But anyway, how can you make a life form illegal? If it is sinful or bad to possess a life form, somebody should have told God that.
Well, and and
You
I
can't
agree with
grow
you.
pot, tell God because he's the one growing it.
Yeah. Well, and that like again, I don't know if we want to get into all of this, but that gets very blown out very quickly because then you're talking about illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
And life forms are humans as well. People who are throughout history titled illegal or wrong, persecution. And it's something that I can get very hot about very quick. So it's
You
just,
started.
yeah. And don't get me started. Yeah.
You guys, all three of you guys should do a show called "Don't Get Me
Don't
Started."
get us started.
You guys-
Right? Exactly.
I'm out, though. I'm not coming in. Okay.
Just a couple of witches,
Scotty's
bitches.
like, I'm not doing it. You guys are on your own.
You're on your own. I'll moderate, then I'll go. And then I'll come back. Okay, next topic.
Shows will be 5 hours long.
Right?
But the whole idea of making something illegal and even knowledge, this whole colonizer mindset. I have it, you want it, so because I don't give it to you, I have power. And it's just it's another area in humanity where we can do better.
Mhm.
I agree.
Mhm.
Agree.
All right, I love you guys. Why don't we start with Jen? Why don't you give us your web pages and where people can find you and everything?
You can find me on Facebook on Jen Hodgson, Psychic Medium. You can find me at jenhodgsonpsychicmedium.com, which is my website. You can also find me on hodgsonbooks.com and professionalparanormalinvestigations.com, and on Instagram with those same names. So, yeah.
Cool.
Ooh.
All right.
Yep.
Devin, go ahead.
Yeah, why don't you-
So you can find me at devinevans.com. I'm also on Facebook at Devin Evans Psychic Medium, and Instagram, Devin E, or Divine Medium, Devin E Medium. Or you can find me out in the astral realm, just chilling out with my guides.
Right.
Or with my guide.
And go ahead. Where can we find you, Scotty?
At ScottyRorek.com, Scotty Rorek, on Facebook. Scotty Rorek Psychic Medium is my business site where you can get anything that says Scotty Rorek or Spooky Scotty. It's me. There's 60 pages on Google. I looked it up the other day.
Woohoo.
I know. I was like,
Awesome.
that's too many.
Cool.
Never enough, Scotty.
You got to get them all.
No,
Right.
and then let's get into the Psychics Unite one. Each town has their own. So on Facebook we have groups called Psychics Unite, and then we have the state with the 2 letters, and then the city name. So that's how you find them. So if you look up like a Wisconsin, you go Psychics Unite WI, and then do the search, and it'll show you all the ones in that state.
Mhm.
So Devon's is what OH
Yeah,
Columbus.
we've got one for OH Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Cleveland.
And Jen's is
Southeast Indiana, IN.
and then ours is WI Madison.
Yeah.
So we got them all over the place, and we got Psychics Unite organization. There's a bunch out there, so come find us. Like we said, Devin posts every week where our Zoom meetings are for Monday nights. It's always the same link, so feel free to come in. Join us every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Central on Zoom.
And
It's a good time.
have YouTube videos up too on the YouTube channel, and that is Psychics Unite as well. So be sure
Tonight's show
to
is put on there, too, so-
subscribe. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Don't forget to click the little bell for the notification so you don't miss out on any videos. And also remember that Scotty is on every Wednesday night, and he always has some awesome guests.
That's
And
it.
don't forget Devin's show is on Thursday.
Next
Yep.
week, I actually have another chapter member. So Sandy, we were talking about Sandy Cole
Woohoo!
coming on next Wednesday night with me to talk about mediumship and their group up in Portage and Weston, Wisconsin. So just north
Awesome.
of the Madison area. So
Sweet.
cool. Well, thank you guys so much. Very nice to see everybody. Thank you at home for watching, and those that are watching on Facebook the rest of the week. And then on, like I said, Jen's also going to put this on our YouTube channel so we can get it there.
Yep.
So
And if
Absolutely.
you want to find me, you can find me on Scotty Rorek.
okay. All right. Goodbye, everybody. We gotta go. Goodbye, everybody. Get out of here. Everybody. Go. Get. See ya.
Good.
Good night.